we have studied different layer of OSI model. So in that OSI layer, we have seen that it is certified with ISO standards, right? And in that we have seen that three layers: physical, which is the first layer of OSI model, data link layer, and network layer. So in that physical layer, we have seen that it refers what type of communication. Physical layer, hardware. Okay, hardware level layer is your physical layer, and it converts the data into binary, right? What about the data link layer? The data link layer, it refers to the node to node communication process. Okay, and flow control and your error controls are also uh, the part of the data link layer. The network layer, it refers your end to end delivery system, right? So these are the things we have studied in our last classes. So just have a look. Network layer, it refers to the end to end delivery system. Okay, then come to the next layer, which is your layer fourth layer of your OSI model. And here, what is the characteristic of this layer? It uses the process to process delivery system. Okay, as you have seen in the data link and network layer, they refers to the node to node and end to end delivery system, but here we will see that process to process delivery system, right? And what are the major role of this transport layer? It refers the port address. Okay, and it uses the segmentation and reassembly. How means, see, it is the intermediate layer in between the higher layer and lower layer. Okay, higher layers are your application layer, presentation layer, and session layer, that are user reference layer, and the bottom layers are hardware interfacing layers like your physical, data link, and network layer. So this offers the interfacing in between them by using the port address. Then another function of this is segmentation and reassembly. What is the meaning of segmentation and reassembly? Means, directly I will come at here, guys. Just have a look. In earlier case, we have seen that in the network layer, it offers the source address and destination address, right? So segmentation and reassembly in transport layer, when the data is arriving to the transport layer from the network layer side, or we can say that the data, it is divided into two types, data 2 and data 1, or we can say the data 1 and data 2. It is segmenting this given J and K source and destination address into again the sub segment of that. It means now here A and P are your source and destination. So it is continued to the network layer, means it is coming from the upper layer side. If you see from the upper layer side, means application, presentation, and session layer, that point of view, and it is converted as it is to the data link and to the to the network and to the data link layer side. But now if you will see from the receiver side, so that data which is segmented earlier at the data link and at the network layer level, it will be recombined or reunite at the transport layer. So this is the meaning of the segmentation and reassembly process. Okay, and this is the property of your transport layer. Then what are the other properties? It offers the connection control, obviously, because this is the intermediate layer in between the higher and the lower layer. So it can be either connectionless or connection oriented. So it offers this property. And also in this layer level also we may get the flow control and error control. So remember, what is the layer number of transport layer? It is the fourth layer of the OSI model. So what are the protocols it use? It use the transmission control protocol, which is your TCP, and user datagram protocol, which is your UDP. These two protocols can be used at the transport layer level. Okay, yeah, just that segmentation and reassembly from the what is the upper layer of the transport layer. In case of the sender side, it is the session layer. So the data are coming from the session layers are segmented, and you can see that different segments are there to reach to the network layer. Again it will be reassembled in the receiver side, so towards the session layer. Okay, Then this is the reliable process to process delivery system. Yes, we may expect the reliable delivery system because it refers to the process to process. It is not end to end or node to node. It is process to process delivery system. And another advantage of this is it refers to the segmentation and reassembly. That's why it may be more secure, or the error control can be more secure at this transport layer level. Okay. And because we are using the internet as the medium, right? So we have to take care of all these things, and all the things that care and delivery system must be taken care at the transport layer level. Okay. Then next is the session layer. What is the numbering of this session layer? Layer 5th or 5th layer of your OSI model, which is your session layer. So what is the property of this? This maintains the connection and terminates the connection. Okay, just remember that for connection establishment and for termination, these two properties are important at the session layer level. Suppose you are requesting the data from the upper level, you are requesting one job to do, either in the case of the letter writing or in case of your writing an email. Okay, in that level, how the connection will establish with the server, that process are carried out at the session layer level. Once the job is done, it will terminate that session. Okay, so this is the main thing for your session layer. Then here we may get the synchronization. Okay, synchronization of the arriving packets or your data. While it is coming in a sequence, it must be in synchronized format. Okay, then dialog controls means here we can see that the host to the user delivery system. Here we may maintain either it may go through the two-way communication, one-way communication, or half-way communication, that we have seen in the full duplex mode, half duplex mode, and simplex mode. So here we can see that synchronization point of view, we may see that the grouping and recovery of the process. Okay, then this is the process happening in the session layer. So how the session layer is getting the data from the sender side, it is receiving the data from the presentation layer, which is just the above layer or upper layer of the session layer. So here we may see that the synchronization are referred in this black color portion. So synchronize the data in a proper sequence, that also required, right? So that can be done in the session layer case, then only it will be conveyed to the transport layer for the segmentation and reassembly. Again, from the transport layer in the receiver side, if you will see the data which is segmented, it can be reassembly, but again it has to follow the synchronization as well as in the sender side and in the receiver side. So this is the property of the session layer. Then the last layer is your presentation layer. Sorry, this is the second last layer, and this is the layer 6 of your OSI model. Okay. So presentation layer, just think about the case, if from the sender point of view or from the receiver point of view, after the application is initiated or after the job is initiated, what it will do? It will inform that, okay, it will inform that to the next level of layer, that conveying the message, that part has been done in the presentation layer. Okay. So what are the major duty? Format conversion, compression, encryption. Okay, like your HTML language conversion, okay, or your pictures in the form of JPEG, MPEG, or ASCII code. This code conversions or the language conversion can be done at the presentation layer level. That's why the three important features of it is formatting, compression, and encryption. These things are done in your presentation layer level. So you can say that once the application is initiated from the application layer, then the formatting or conversion which can be accessible by the server, that language format, it will be taken care by the presentation layer. Then only it will find out that whether it has to format in which language, it has to compress or not, or how much byte it need to compress to be accommodated with that channel or that modem or that medium. Okay, then encryption will be also done by the presentation layer level only. Okay, why do we go for the encryption? For the security purpose. We have to secure our message from the eavesdropping or any intruder. Okay, that we have to prevent at the presentation layer level. Yeah, so this is the frame structure of the presentation layer level. So what is the upper layer of the presentation layer? Here we must see that application layer is the upper layer of the presentation layer. Then here it uses the extra information. What is the extra information? In terms of the header file, like that encapsulation, somebody asked me, na ma'am, whether the encapsulation is done in only the physical layer level. No, the encapsulation extra data adding can be done in all the layer levels. So here you can feel that extra layer or extra information has been added in the presentation layer. Same thing can be conveyed at the receiver side also. So to convey the message from application to session layer is in between that the intermediate layer is your presentation layer. Once again I will say that what are the important characteristics of presentation layer? Data formatting, compression and encryption. Okay. So what type of protocol we may use at here? Just have a look. JPEG, MPEG and ASCII, because it involves this type of protocol involves in the formatting, compression and encryption process, coding. Okay. Then come to the last layer or the uppermost layer of the OSI model, which is your layer 7 of your OSI model. Okay, which is your application layer. Okay, application layer. What is the functionality of this application layer? So we can say that this is the user interface layer. Okay, because it is very much attached to the user level of data, because whatever the user want to do, it must has to approach to the application layer or the work done by the user at the initial level, and that can be categorized into the property of the application layer. Okay, so in the sender side this is the first layer, in the receiver side this is the last layer, or we can say that the layer numbering of the OSI model, the last layer or layer 7 is application layer. So what are the properties offered by this application layer? Direct service. It will offer the direct service to the users. Okay, then it will identify and determines the resources. Okay, so what type of resources are available to start the program? This is the job of the application layer. Like suppose you want to just surf in the internet, or you want to share an information, or just you want to download something. Okay, so what kind of application you want to do, as per that it will find out what are the resources available to complete your job that can be done by your application layer. Then what are the protocols available at here? Telnet, SMTP, FTP and SMMP. FTP is very popular, like file transfer protocol. Okay, and SMTP or simple mail transfer protocol. So you have to just go through that. Yeah, just have a look guys. It takes different operation, whether the applications are file sharing or browsing or any other kind of data exchange method, it has to refer that, or it will just make the header file of this with encapsulation process. It will add some additional information for the presentation layer, because we can see the presentation layer level, after getting the information from the application layer, it will go for the compression or your formatting or encryption. That's why it has to specify that first. That job must be specified from the application layer itself, whether it will come under the JPEG operation or just coding operation, or for any kind of file exchange process. So that job must be specified from the application layer level itself. Then only the presentation layer will be confirmed that okay, what particular job it has to do, that will be conveyed to the presentation layer. So same thing can be conveyed in the receiver side after doing the job from the presentation layer side. When the user wants the original work done or receiver side, it used to be revert back at the receiver side. Okay. Then summary of the layer. How many different layers of OSI models are there? There are 7 layers. What are those? Physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation and application. But if we start from the sender side, this will be the first. If we will start from the receiver side, this will be the first. But numbering wise, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what are the work done by the application layer? In a short form, if we will say that it allows the accessing of the network resources. Okay, it will find out the network resources. Okay, what is the job for the presentation layer? It will format, encrypt and compress. That formatting can be called as the translating. Okay, then similarly the session layer applications or session layer properties are to establish the connection and to terminate the connection. That's why establish, manage and terminate the session. Then what is the property of your transport layer? To provide the reliable process to process delivery system. Okay, the network layer end to end delivery system in the form of packets. This is also another point. The packet delivery system or the data are converted into the form of packets, and that packets are conveyed in the end to end delivery system. Then come to the data link layer. It provides the node to node or hop to hop delivery system, and it refers the data in the form of frames. Network layer in the form of packets, but data link layer, the data are in the form of frames. Then the last layer, what is the job of the last layer? The bit formatting. Okay, the informations are converted to the bit in the form of 1 and 0 binary information. Okay, for maintaining the mechanical or electrical connections. So this is the summary of your OSI model. Got it up to this, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Guys,
Sure.
yeah. Is this audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So just now we have discussed about the OSI model, right, and different layering structure of the OSI model, but the OSI model is the certified one by the ISO standard. So what is the basic model from where it got the reformation of that model? That is your TCP IP model. This is the basic model in the network architecture or in the networking. So we are going to learn now the TCP IP model, transmission control or internet protocol model. Why the specific name? Now we have seen that these two protocols TCP IP and UDP can be used in the transport layer level. So why it is specifically called as the TCP or IP model? Why do we call this? Means whatever the layer we have seen from 1 to 7, it will merge some layer and it will offers only the 4 layer, not all total 7 layer, because this is the basic model. So that we will see what are the layers are merged in the TCP model and how does it function. Okay, by using those layers we will see that. So first thing you remember this, guys, TCP model architecture, it is not the certified one. Okay, just it is the theoretical model, it is not certified by the ISO standard. That is one thing. Then it is first used or developed by the US Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA. Okay, for their coding structure or formatting, they need a specific layering architecture. Okay, they developed that, and that is called as your TCP IP model. And this agency, they use the packet switch network only, particularly. Okay, they refers or they particularly focused upon the packet switch network. That's why it is for ARPANET only. Okay, then whenever the internet is present, then only we have to refer this model. Without internet, this model cannot exist. That's why it is called as IP protocol architecture or TCP or IP model architecture. Okay, and what are the layers of this TCP model? Only how many layers are there? How many layers, guys? Only 4 layers are there. What are those? Application, transport, internet layer, host to host layer. Which layers are missing as compared to OSI model? If you see that session and presentation, it means 5, 6, 7 all together are called as application layer. What are the 5, 6, 7 layer? Session, presentation and application layer all together called as your application layer. Transport layer as it is. Internet layer means your network layer, guys. What we are learning in the OSI model about the network layer, at here it is called as internet layer. Then the last two layer, what are the last two layer? The last two layer are physical and data link layer. That two are combinedly called as the host to host layer. Okay, let's study about the different layering structure of the TCP IP model, or we may compare the OSI model with the TCP model. In the OSI, the first thing, there are 4 layer. In TCP, 7 layer. In TCP, only 4 layer. This is the first basic difference. Then, what are the combination of the layer? The 5, 6, 7. They will do the job, whatever the job done by the OSI model, the same thing has been combined at your TCP IP level, but sometimes it creates the confusion. There is no segregation in between the 5, 6 and 7. Altogether it is coming under the application layer structure. That's why in this OSI model they segregated the jobs and functionalities into session, presentation and application layer. Then transport layer, whatever the process to process delivery system it is done in the OSI model, the same job can be done at the transport layer level. Now if you see, guys, the layering number of transport layer was layer 4 in the OSI model, but here in this TCP model, what is the numbering of the transport layer? It is third layer in the TCP model. Okay, then come to the network layer. Here the packet delivery system can be done in the OSI model, we have seen that, and it refers to end-to-end delivery system. Okay, but here you can see that in spite of calling this as network layer, we are calling this as internet layer. Okay, internet layer. And functionalities are similar. Then the last two layer in your OSI model, layer 1 and layer 2, data link and physical layer, all together here it is called as host to host layer. Okay, or host to host delivery system layer, or host to host user layer, like end to end delivery system in the network layer. So here it is node to node or hop to hop delivery system layer. So whatever the things we have studied, the same thing has been explained in this slide also. Just go through this and okay, some more thing, because we are combining the physical and data link layers, so it will functions for the signal level and it will define the data rate also altogether, because physical as well as data link layer, that functionality will be combined. So altogether in the host to host layer of TCP model, this is the characteristic of that. You just go through it. Okay, then internet layer. In that network layer, we have seen that end-to-end delivery system, and it refers to the packet delivery system. So what is the extra thing we may see at here? It uses or it defines the same packet and delivery and addressing scheme. Then upper layer can access the network layer. What is the upper layer above this? Transport layer. It will extract the data from the network layer and it will convey the message in the form of processes. Different process can be followed at the transport layer by extracting the packets from the network layer. Okay, so how it is attached to the different network, okay, or how it is connected to different type of network, that can be identified through some protocol. So what are the protocols used at here? ICMP and IGMP, then ARP or RARP. You just go through the abbreviation of these things, guys. So for what are the purpose? For messaging purpose, we can refer the ICMP or IGMP, and for address resolution, we have to refer the ARP or RARP protocols. Okay, so routing functions can be divided here. Later we are going to learn about the routing table, guys. So which path is better? That will be guided at this internet layer. Unnecessarily utilizing the resources can be stopped at here. How means? First thing, by finding the best route to reach from the source to the destination. That routing functionalities can be defined in the internet layer. Okay, so that can be done by the help of the routers. Routers are the intermediate devices to connect two different networks. Okay, then transport layer, the functionalities is similar with your OSI model. Nothing is different at here. Just remember that process to process delivery system, and it offers the reliable data delivery system. Then it refers to protocols TCP and UDP protocol. Okay, so when do we use the TCP and when do we use the UDP? UDP stands for a user datagram protocol. So segmenting the upper layer application. Okay, because in transport layer you can see that segmentation and reassembly. Okay, so that can be done by using both, by using the TCP and UDP model. But what is the particular job of the TCP is end-to-end operation. What it has done in your network layer, that connection establishment can be carried out up to the transport layer, and that can be through the TCP protocol. Then flow control and reliable delivery system also can be done by the TCP, but synchronization which is done by the session layer can be carried out by the help of the UDP protocol only. Okay, then come to the application layer function. So whatever the job done by the synchronization, the coding, the compression, okay, and formatting, all the things all together, and first identifying the resources, all the things can be done by the application layer, single functionalities application layer in the TCP model. Okay, so what are the protocols? Just go through this, because sometimes in exam or in quiz we are asking what are the protocols, name of the protocols will be given, and that can be used in which layer we are sometimes asking. So just refer to the theory part for the protocols as well as the functionalities of your layering architecture of OSI model as well as TCP IP model. Okay, this is all about the network layer architecture. Got it, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
So just few things. How many layers are there in the OSI model? Yes. How
There are
many
7
layers?
layers, ma'am.
Yes, 7
7
layers
layers.
are there. Yes, very good. 7 layers are there in the OSI model. How many layers in the TCP IP model?
4 layer, ma'am.
4 layers.
Only 4, ma'am.
Actually, in some book you may see there are 5 layers for the TCP model. In some book they are saying that 4. But why it is 5 means if you want combine that host to host layer by combining data link and physical only, we are calling this as host to host. If you write host to host, 4 layers are accepted. But if you won't write host to host, but you may write data link and physical again, that is also correct. Okay, just remember these two things. Then the next topic is network topology. Guys, whatever the things we have studied, your layers either in the OSI or in the TCP IP, that must be carried out through some topologies, means connections. Okay, how do we connect the devices, the node to node delivery, end to end delivery, process to process delivery system, how that can be done? That can be done by the help of the topology. Topologies are nothing but the connection establishment process in between the network and the devices. Okay, suppose you are going to build a network, so what type of connection you will prefer, that is called as your topologies. And here we are going to study about different type of topologies. So what are the different type of topologies are there means bus, star, ring, mesh and hybrid topology. So from the name itself you can imagine that bus, star, ring, mesh, the structure will be like that only. Okay, in the network structure will look like that, and the devices how we are connecting, that will refer the structure first. That should look like to the name itself. Whatever the name of the topologies are there, they must look like that. Okay, so one by one we are going to study now. It is very simple thing, guys. Already you have some idea regarding the topology also, but bus topology. See, guys, here we have to use a single connecting cable and the devices may connect upon that single cable. That's why it is called as the backbone of the connection. So you may see that if you extend the wire, you can connect as many as number of node onto it. There is no limitation. So this is one advantage and very simple to install. Okay. Then what is the drawback of this? First we have to find out what are the advantages and disadvantages. If you extend the cable, the central cable, all the devices are connected to this central cable. Okay, this is easy to extend as many as wire if it is possible by you. You can extend the wire and you can connect that many number of devices. But the drawback is if the central cable you are going to drag it for a long distance, it is not possible. For a small distance only this is possible. So this is the disadvantage of that first disadvantage. Okay. Second thing, if suppose there is the breakage happened in the backbone cable or the main bus cable, which is called as the bus cable, if the failures are happening at here, the entire devices connected to that will not function out. They will also malfunction. So this is the advantage and disadvantage and architecture or structure of your bus topology. Okay, so here you can see that. So what are the devices we are going to use? Terminator, the T pieces, L pieces, Y pieces can be used the joint to joint purpose to connect different or many devices. We can use these connectors. Okay. As I told you, the drawback of that, just realize that guys, this is to show you only in the figure. So if any failure happen at the main bus cable, the devices will also get affected by that. Okay. Then yeah, already I shown you what are the advantages and disadvantages, that also you go through that. Then star topology. This is the really what to say, beneficial topology, or we can say that there are many advantages of the star topology. See, by using a central device, only a central device can control or can be used to connect different nodal devices. We no need that many cables to connect each and every device. No need for a long wire. Okay. And here you can see that if the link is failure from this to this, another device can work properly. They will work behave properly. There is no effect of failure of any one single connecting link or cable upon the other devices which are connected to the central node or hub, which is called as your hub. Okay, and here these are called as the links, and end devices are called as the nodes. So this is the advantage of your star topology. Then where do we get the trouble? What will happen if the central device will get failed, or the error will happen at the central knob, or this knob itself will get disconnected. Okay, then the entire devices or nodal devices which are connected to the central node, they will also get malfunction. So this is the criteria, property and architecture of your star topology. But in most of the cases, actually if you see the network connection, when we need more number of device to connect, at that time we may use the star topology. And what are the central devices can be used? Hub and switches. Hubs are actually the initial interconnecting device. After that only switch is implemented at here. Okay, so if you see some more things or figures of the star topology. So how, if we implement the hub and switch, what type of star topology can be maintained? Yes, we can see that first one is broadcasted star by hub and broadcasted network by using the switch. So hub, it is non-intelligent device guys, it doesn't carry any memory or anything, just it will convey the message from the central server to the different nodes only. Okay, it doesn't carry any information. But here in the switch, it carries some information up to some time limit. Okay, so till that it will carry the information. After that time limit is over, it will just disconnect it. Okay, so switches are more intelligent than our hub. Then advantages, disadvantages, I have already informed you guys. Then the next topology. Next topology is ring topology. Ring, the name itself, it will say that when we are connecting the devices by using the connector or the link, that should look like a circle. Ring means enclosed path, a closed path. Okay, all refers to a closed path. The devices connected, they must follow a loop structure, a closed loop structure. Okay, so this is called as your ring topology. Then each and every devices, see, suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 4 devices are connected by using this ring topology. So 2 will receive data from 1. Okay, then 3 will receive data from 2, then 4 will receive data from 3, then again 1 will receive data from 4. Okay, so now just have a look, guys. Can you define that? What will be the advantage of the ring topology? Hmm?
Ma'am, less number of nodes would be needed, like less number of connections would be needed.
Is there any
And
central
ma'am,
devices required?
no ma'am, central device is not required.
That is
Also, ma'am,
also
yes ma'am.
okay.
And also, ma'am, any computer can directly contact any other computer. Like two can contact to four. It'll have to go through three also. But
But
the but
intermediate path it has to follow, na?
yes ma'am.
Hmm.
But that seems like an advantage somewhere, ma'am.
Okay, so it refers to unidirectional connection, right?
Yes ma'am.
One way or unidirectional connection, and central device it doesn't require, and it refers to the simple connection only, right? So that is the advantages of your ring topology. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. And as per security also, ma'am, if
Hmm.
we want, like, if we don't want two and four connecting, like, passing arbitrary information, we have
Hmm.
three and one to monitor that. So
Yes,
that is a
yes.
big advantage.
Yeah. Okay. What will be the drawback of this? Tell me quickly.
Ma'am, connection will be slower.
Yeah, because it uses or involve the intermediate node. If 1 and 3 wants to connect, they have to involve 2. If 2 and 4 wants to connect, they have to involve 3. Okay, they are using the intermediate devices. And another major drawback is, see, if the loop is failed, it won't maintain a ring structure, right? In any case, the loop is failed, it won't maintain the ring architecture, which is the main criteria of the loop ring topology. Okay, so that is also, at that time it will affect the connection for the other links. Okay, that is also the drawback of your ring topology. Then it actually uses the token ring message transmission process. Okay, the data are passed from one point to another point in the form of a token, which is a type of short message. Okay, so that also you have to remember. Just go through the slides, guys, because these are theory only. Whatever the things we have discussed, everything has been written at here. Advantages: equal access for all user, performs well under heavy traffic also. But disadvantages: if one device or cable fail, then the whole network goes down. Okay, as we discussed now. And difficult to troubleshoot. Troubleshoot means difficult to find out where the error is going on, and to repair until the link or device is not getting repaired, till that the entire network will be down only. That's why it is called as difficult to troubleshoot. And adding and removing computers may disturb the whole network, because already they are following some path structure. So if you remove any one, or if you replace that, it will disturb the network connection. That is the meaning of that. Okay, and the next one is the mesh topology. Guys, in the ring topology you can see that it is unidirectional. Suppose D to B wants to connect, or A to C wants to connect, it has to pass through B. Okay, unidirectional. But directly I cannot connect A to C. That drawback is there. We have to involve in the ring topology. See, whatever the topologies we have seen: bus, star, ring, all are advanced form of each other, guys. If you see that the drawbacks are taken care in the next level of topology. Okay, so that thing at the drawback level of ring topology, if this 1 to 3 connection or 4 to 2 wants to connect directly, we have to go through the intermediate node. So that has been taken care by the mesh topology. Okay, so that is the advanced level of your ring topology. Okay, now you can see that in the mesh topology you can connect diagonally also. See, they can also connect in a ring manner, they can also connect in a diagonal manner. So this is the architecture of your mesh topology, and here we may see that in what method it will connect the devices, n into n minus 1 by 2. Okay, so that maintains this formula for the connection establishment. Then what are the type of
Ma'am,
mesh?
ma'am, can you please explain this n into n minus 1 by 2?
Suppose n number
The-
of devices are there, you want to connect the devices. Okay, at least minimum how many number of connection can be established with that n number of
Yeah,
devices by using mesh
understood.
topology?
Understood. Yes,
Got
ma'am.
it, no?
Understood.
Minimum number
Yes,
of
ma'am.
requirement. Like in ring, all the devices must be connected with that loop. Are you getting my point? They must follow the ring
Yes.
architecture. In star also you have to refer that they all should be connected to the central devices. But here in ring and mesh there is no central device, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise you can make n number of connection if central device is there.
Yes, ma'am.
But
It will
here
become
the
star type.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, because we don't have the central device like in the star topology, or we don't have the backbone cable to carry over all the devices. Okay, so that we have to think one formula that okay, if we will refer to this formula, we can connect minimum number of devices by using the link or the connecting cable. Okay, n is the number of
Yes.
node. Okay, guys. Then what are the type of mesh? The mesh can be full, mesh can be partial. Okay, so if you see that advantage point of view, it can broadcast most number of nodes. Okay, that is the advantage, because you can see that ring and your cross section point of view we can connect the devices. Okay, but in disadvantage you can see that it is very messy to solve this, right? I have shown you in a simple figure so that you can say that what is the messy thing at here. There is nothing messy, but if you realize there is a availability of another nodes which are available in different point of view. So how do you identify that the connection? If there is a failure of connection in between the node, it is very difficult to find out where the error is there. Okay, to repair and reconnect is difficult at here. Okay, that is the only drawback, because it refers a mesh structure. Because of lot of connection, it is very difficult to find out that. Otherwise it is useful, very much useful, and nowadays we are using mesh only. Mostly we are using mesh. But just think that, guys, if this drawback can also be overcome by using some topology, it will be better for us, no? Like we came across bus to star, star to ring, ring to mesh, but in the mesh also the disadvantages are there. So the next topology, earlier this hybrid topology was not there, guys, which is the advanced version of the topologies, because in hybrid you can combine different topologies together. Okay, let's have a look. uh, just have a look and tell me what are the topologies combined at here.
Star and bus.
Okay, can we make a ring and bus?
No, ma'am.
Can we make a mesh topology and any other topology? Can we combine to make hybrid topology? Any suggestions?
Ma'am, mesh and star topologies would be a good thing.
Mesh and star topology. Yes, that can be possible. Any other idea? how do you improve your network reliability, connection as well as number of devices? By using hybrid topology only, yes or no? So suppose as per the network requirement, in this example itself, if there is a star topology and it needs to be extended, right? It needs to be extended. At that time we have used the bus topology at here, but you can extend the mesh and star also. Also you can combine them by using the bus cables. Okay, but it depends upon the network category and the requirement of the devices and the connection issues. All these things you have to take care. But hybrid means, just remember that whatever the topologies you have been studied, if you are going to combine them into a form, that is called as hybrid topology. You can use more than one topologies together. Okay. Okay, how many different
Yes, ma'am.
topologies are there? Yeah, tell me, how many different topologies are there?
5, ma'am.
5. What are those?
Bus, star, ring, mesh, and hybrid.
Okay guys, and hybrid also, na? So this is the advantage and disadvantage of hybrid. You can see from the figure itself, if this hub is failing, these two can sustain actually. But if the middle hub is failed, still you can work with the star topology. That is the advantage. But here, from the whole hybrid point of view only, it has mentioned that if hub fails connection between failed hub, another hub will also fail. If already one hub is failed and you are trying to approach that, you may not get the success connection for the network expansion. It may not work for the network expansion guys, but it can work with the small sustained area or small vicinity. It will work. That is the advantage of the hybrid topology. Okay. So what are the things we studied today? Yes, who will say? What are the things we studied today?